Welcome to Ride Along. I'm Joe Monahan. Today we're going to be talking about time management, and it's one of my favorite subjects. Years ago, I remember taking a class which was Franklin Covey time management, and to this day, I still use the core principles of it because it is incredibly effective. Now, the idea is ensuring what each task is and how to organize that task to be more efficient. So, for example, we have two real core types of tasks. We have, by definition, a task. Now, a task is something that needs to be done, but it doesn't have a date or, let's say, a time attached to it. So it needs to be done, but we don't know when. A date or a calendared schedule, that is like a meeting. So a meeting happens at 2 o'clock on Thursday. So we have that time slated off. So now when we look at those two subjects, the most important thing to think about, really, is how do I organize those? So if I write down a list of tasks, any of those tasks that I can get in a calendar and have a date and time, then I know that they've been locked in to be done. But if they're just tasks sitting on the side, how do I know or understand the level of importance for each one of these tasks? So what you do is have two systems, if you will. The first is A, B, and C. A is critically important. That needs to be done today. B is important, but it can be done the next day or possibly the day after. And C can be done at some time, but it does not take precedence over A and B. The only time a C would take that precedence is if you were unable to do an A or a B, which, again, a task is a task. So, what's an A? All right, an A would be if your car was on empty and you need to get gas. That has to be done today. All right? An A is something that might be time sensitive but doesn't belong on a calendar. I need to get a proposal out by end of day today. That's an A. A B would be something like I need to book travel. Travel is coming up. I need to get it done in the next few days, but it's not something that has to be done today. So that could be a B. And a C could be like doing laundry, okay? So what's the 1, 2, 3? Well, we're going to have multiple A's and multiple B's and multiple C's many of the time. So the A, B, and C defines the importance. 1, 2, and 3 defines the order in which that needs to be done. So an A1 has to be done first, most important item. And again, there can only be one A1. This is why this system is important. Then A2 will follow A1 and so on. Where we run into problems is people make everything an A1, or they have 3 or 4 A1s. That doesn't do this system any favors, because now you have to decide which one of these needs to be done in order, and that wastes time. Not only am I able to really organize my tasks and make sure that they're being done on time and in order of their importance, but I can also take some of those tasks and move them into a calendar to ensure they get done. And that's something that I really like the idea of, is instead of saying this A1 needs to be done today, I can move that A1 to 1 o'clock today, and now I can move something else to A1 because that is going to be done at 1 o'clock today. So once again, something on your calendar will take precedence over tasks. Now, the way that I look at tasks is that same theory of rock, pebble, sand, if you will. I look at my calendar each day, and wherever I have space in my calendar, that's where I knock out those tasks. So I'm using my time efficiently. Where the calendar is helpful is I know what my schedule is going to be ahead of time. And Where that becomes really critically important is when you're trying to respond to meetings. Let's say somebody sends you a meeting invite, and that meeting invite is on Thursday at 3 o'clock. Well, you already have a meeting at Thursday at 3. So this is easy to be able to send back a no because you have a reason for being able to say no. This is one of the most difficult things we see currently in business is the way that you get a lot of recognition and the way that you get a lot of respect from peers is being available all the time. Now, this is a great habit to have, and I try to be available whenever possible. But if you're doing less important tasks in front of more important tasks, then you're going to start taking a hit for this pretty quickly. So the value of knowing and keeping track of things far in advance, I've had people say to me, especially in my line of work now, hey, we have a meeting coming up in October, so it's August. And you would think, oh, that's a guaranteed on-the-calendar task. But I look in October, and because I keep track of my time, I realize that I've set vacation for that time. Well, now I have to take a look at those two tasks and think about, is it more valuable to move my vacation to sit this meeting because it might be a very important meeting to close the deal, or is it less important and my vacation is something that is time sensitive, meaning that I have to go to this place at a certain time, like if you go to Washington, D.C. for the cherry blossoms, right? You can't do that any time of the year. So this is a great way to be able to look into the future and be able to not just tell somebody you're unable to do a task, but why. And again, that's a very powerful tool, being able to say no, but doing it properly. Now, another very important part of this process is making sure that people, if you're doing this digitally, can see and understand your calendar. When I did this way back in the early 2000s, we all used paper planners for Franklin Covey, and really people couldn't see our calendars. So having to double that calendar into Outlook became, a little bit cumbersome. Additionally, in my paper planner, I would have personal events with my business events, but I don't want to post my personal events in my business calendar. Now, you could put in there busy and not list anything, but for a lot of people, busy just means you're trying to hold that time, and they feel that they're important enough to take that time, and they'll push you for it. So, like I said, it became a little troublesome at times. So, once again, if you really think about this system and you really apply it, you take the time to apply it, it works incredibly well. The only negative is Outlook does not have something like this built in to its system. Now, there are ways to do it. You can actually put in the title of each one of your tasks an A1 or an A2 or B1, and that can really help organize this in many ways. So you'd have to kind of create your own system to pull this off. But it's worth it. It is so worth having a system like this. And I can't stress this enough, because your time is precious, and you can't get your time back. This is something I learned many, many, many times. When you are planning your time, you really want to consider the importance again, and if there's something else that comes up, could something that you have listed as an A1 be knocked down to an A1 because of something else that's more important? Absolutely. But you really want to think about how you list these, because a lot of people will make B's into A's because they want to get it done, and now they look at their list, and the things that have to be done today are A1 through A25. They're not going to get done. So my rule has always been no more than 5 A's in one day, because I know I can probably knock those out. Now, could an A fall to the next day? It's possible. Depends on how you look at that task. If I put 5 A's on one day, it's because my calendar isn't packed. Now, if you have a packed calendar, you don't want to be throwing up 5 A's because you probably will never get them done. And now you're just pushing things to the next day, and those are true A tasks. Those are probably would have been B tasks if they ended up on the next day. So in time, you'll master how you list them. But make sure that you're honest with yourself, and the more honest you are about the value of those tasks, the better your time management will be. I hope this helps. Have a great day.